Do you want to make profit with legal trading routes without having to wait until the stock is stocked up? Then you are in the right place. Because in the third part of the series for the best trading routes, whether illegal or legal, we take a look at special routes. Here you can easily make 1.5 million alpha UEC per hour, depending on which ship you are and of course on which day or night you are trying to trade. But first of all, let's take a look at different lucrative legal trading routes and materials, which you can't always buy completely with larger ships, but with smaller ships. We are talking about smaller trading ships up to about 150 SCU cargo capacity, because here you can usually buy enough to fill an entire cargo hold. Let's start with one of the best known trading routes, which is Laranite. Here we have a profit of about 30%. The risk-to-loss ratio is within the scope of 3.3. We get Laranite at various production sites at ArcCorp, Crusader or the Hurston area. But the whole thing has a catch, especially for larger ships. Because the stock of goods is quite manageable, especially with the most small outposts and especially with larger cargo ships like the Caterpillar or Hercules Starlifter series. This is usually not enough to fill your ship completely. And of course, this applies not only to Laranite, but also to various other goods groups which we also find on mostly smaller outposts. And again, the note here, use the available loot options for additional income. But back to trading. Almost all goods groups with a limited shopping volume, like diamonds, gold or Laranite, have a manageable risk of loss. And also the investment remains within the scope. Basically, smaller trading ships have the upper hand here, because due to the limited cargo hold, you have the option of filling it mostly completely or almost completely. Because for example, to fill a Caterpillar or even a Hercules Starlifter C2, you need several stops at different points, like we do here. And this greatly reduces the possible profit of about $500,000 for a C2, because we need a lot longer and cannot fly several routes with a full cargo. And therefore, we generally recommend when trading with goods like Laranite the mixture with other valuable materials, which we will go into detail in a moment. As a standard, when buying, you can always keep an eye on gold, agricium, diamonds, medical supplies or astatine. Because these have the best profit margins in the legal area, but are unfortunately only available limitedly. And again the tip, if you cannot buy the entire stock from a goods group, wait, because the last SCU is usually not quite complete and therefore cannot be bought. To fill larger cargo ships like the C2, several stops at the different outposts are usually necessary. Whereby here, also other players follow the same route, so you are constantly in a competition for a very limited goods offer. Basically, there would be huge profits in here, but in reality it is significantly different, because you can never act planned here. An advantage are here, for example, times during the week or in early morning hours, because here the player's output is significantly lower than in the prime time. This way, you can also counteract the biggest run and usually have a much better goods availability and better profits. For alternative goods or for filling up your cargo space, gold with a margin of 22% and 60.3 alpha UEC profit per SCU is especially worth it, and subsequently, agricium, diamonds, medical supplies and astatine. We can only recommend other materials very limitedly as additional cargo, because here the profit margin is again significantly lower. And because of this, here the profit drops so much that a trade is not really worth it anymore. Otherwise, it looks like incoming mass freighter here. Here are also lower profit margins sufficient, whereby we can make significantly more profits through an increased SCU trade. The advantage of a goods combination is that you can usually sell them at one station, namely at the different trading centers of the main planets, without having to fly to different stations or planets to sell all. So you can sell everything in one place. But let's go to the trading routes which are also suitable for larger freighters, such as the Starlifter series or a Caterpillar. This means that the goods availability is also sufficient for larger ships, and several players said the profit margin is also accordingly high. And as a bonus, we do not have to bother ourselves with the parking of a small landing pad or deal with the atmosphere on the routes. Because thanks to the gateways that come into play, the Terra or Pyro gateway, we also have the possibility to do station trading. Here, the goods variety is still manageable, but already sufficient to trade reliably, especially with the Starlifter or Caterpillar series. Currently, the most profitable is the trade with Hephaestionine. Here, we have a profit margin of almost 20%, but a relatively high loss rate of 5.2%. The investment costs, at the other hand, are quite manageable. A really big bonus, however, is that we have a very high goods availability here, especially at the Pyro Gateway area. Here, we find directly in the area of the admin office the possibility of trading via the terminal. And with just under 175,000 SCU in storage, the station has more than enough material to reliably support several players. And with a quick military quantum drive, we can make a run in just under 16 to 17 minutes with one route and earn here per run just under 300,000 alpha aUEC. So definitely not a bad deal. And above all, we don't have the problem of being in front of a sold-out house as with many other commodity goods currently. Only the slightly increased flight times are a minus point here. But, in principle, we can make rather predictable profits here. The loss risk is increased by 5.2 because in principle we pay just under 1.6 million for a purchase and we get 1.9 million when we sell. Nevertheless, we have one of the most meaningful and exciting routes here, especially for large freight ships. But after the 3.24 is also in the starting, with the physicalized freight and freight trailers, it becomes very interesting, especially in the field of trade, how this will develop further. But of course, we will keep you up to date with the best trading routes, tips and tricks and guides to all areas in Star Citizen. And feel free to leave a comment, check our Discord or visit the daily Twitch live streams. See you soon and see you in the verse. And thanks for watching!